All right, so welcome to part 2 of the Connecting the Dots exercise, which is session number 2 for the summer internship of SPIRE Research Internship 2024. I'm going to share my screen with you and go back to the same document that we were at before we took the break. All right. And we got a suggestion from Isha that we need to amend the research question to say, and let me just, so this is the original research question. What is the difference in exam performance between hostelites and day scholars? See, the question assumes that there is a difference. The question assumes the fact or assumes the notion that there is a difference in exam performance. The question suggested now is, let me just, all right, where did the question go? Hello, open the chat. Is there any difference in exam here? And, all right. Okay. बड़ा बड़ा लिखा हुआ है. Is there any difference in exam performance of hostelites and day scholars in medical school? Now, how is this question different from the first question? One, I mean, what Isha wrote is this is more captivating, looks more interesting. ठीक है, I agree with that. What is the thing that is making the difference in exam performance? Hira is saying. And wow, okay, so there are 3 objectives from Isha, and she just earned a whole bunch of credit because she sent the 3 objectives. Oops, where are the here? Here, 1, 2. Okay, just a minute. So I'm going to write it here. 2, and let me just. Now we have 3 objectives here. To assess any difference in exam performance between both parties. Number 2 is to compare differences in all 5 years and search for trends. For example, first year can have poor results compared to day scholars due to something, all right? To compare the differences in all exams throughout the years and detect the differences. Very interesting and very objective, honestly, very objective. Now, supposing all of us agree that our research question is going to be, is there any difference between, right? And then these are the 3 smart objectives that we wrote for this research question. And let me try to make them even more smart for you. To assess any difference in exam performance between both parties. So we can say, assess any difference. So I will write assess for presence of a measurable difference in exam performance between both parties. So pretty smart objectives, pretty smart. Also, to make it time bound is in final year MBBS. Right? To compare the differences in all 5 years and search for trends. Now, this doesn't really fit in with the first objective. See, I wrote final year MBBS. So, well, I'll write in all years of MBBS. So that this will sort of coordinate with the second objective. To compare differences. So first, I assess for the presence of a measurable difference. And then I compare differences in all 5 years and search for trends. Is there a trend, Is there a year where hostelites are performing uniformly bad compared to day scholars? So I'm looking for trends. Okay. To compare the difference in all exams, both of these are the same. Both 2 and 3 are same objectives. Do you agree? There isn't any measurable objective in the question. It opens the room for a neutral answer. Okay. There isn't any measurable objective. Exactly. So I'm trying to make them measurable as well. Okay. Now, I think Isha or all of you probably looked at these verbs and decided to send the objectives and then action and non-action verbs. Here is what I want you to focus at. This is what let me just, hello. Okay. It's not moving. Um, anyway, I don't know how many of you know this pyramid, but now that we have our research question and research objectives, we need to decide what research design are we going to follow before we do anything else. Is this going to be an expert opinion? No, we're actually going to do a research, right? Is this a case series or a case report? You know what a case series is? That you see a disease or you see a phenomenon and you report 7 or more of them. If it's a common disease, or if it's a relatively common disease, and if it is extremely rare, then you do a case report. Even one case is reported. So, no, we are not doing a case series or a case report. Is this a case control study? Is this a case control study? Case control means that you have a population that has a risk factor and you have a population that does not have that risk factor. Or you have a population that has a certain genetic trait and you have a population that does not have that certain genetic trait. And then you compare both these population. The one that does not have the risk factor is the case, and the one that does not have the risk factor is the control, and the one that has the risk factor is the case. So are we doing a case control study? Case control can also mean a comparative study. You're comparing two populations for something. I think we are doing a case control study. Yes, right? Then, even better evidence. Supposing we prove that we looked at some exam results for daycare, for day scholars and for hostelites, and we discovered that there is a difference. But what we were doing is that we were just taking small cross sections in time. Final exam ka time utha liya, first prof ka time, second prof ka time. So we took these cross sections in time and we looked at the differences between student results depending on their residential status. Then and since we saw a difference, we became really curious. What is the best research design to prove beyond any doubt that, yeah, there is a real difference that exists, and this difference also extends across the years? Can anybody make a guess? I'm giving you 2 minutes. The answer is in this Word document, but I'm not going to go down and let you see the answer. Can you repeat the? Okay. So supposing I decided that I'm doing a case control study, right? I'm doing a comparative study. I'm comparing apples to oranges. I'm comparing day scholars to hostelites, and I'm looking at their exam performance. And I found out that there is a difference. I took final year results and there was a difference. And then I took first prof results and there was a difference. What is the next best research design for me to prove that there is really a difference that extends across all the years? First year, first prof, second prof, third prof. There is a sustained difference between the results of these two parties. How will I do that? Okay, it's not fair to ask you for the research design because I haven't taught you. But what is a good way of proving this, that the difference is extending across years? It's not just in 1 year. I'm sorry for making you think too hard, but it's an interesting question. Systematic review. No. Cohort. Yeah, it's a cohort, right? Cohort means army. It's a bunch of people that you follow over time. That is a cohort. And I don't know how you made that guess or how you know this. It's interesting. A case control study can be a cohort. You can be following the cases and the controls in time. But what we are doing with exam results for the two groups for one exam is a cross section in time. I'm only looking at this one particular time of the year when the final year result or the first prof result came out, and I was able to compare these two groups with each other, right? But then I said that here is a difference in the final year results and the first prof results. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enroll these students into a database and I'm going to follow them for 5 years. And then I'm going to see if there is a real difference in their performance that is present in every year. That is a cohort. A cohort is means following in time, right? And this is a cohort. I have a study population. This is a prospective cohort. I'm moving forward in time. I have a study population exposure. So the exposure is exposure to the hostel. One group is a hostelite and the other group is a non-hostelite, is a day scholar group. Okay. These people get to go home after the school is off, and they live with their parents and they live with their families. And these people are living away from their families and they're eating mess wala khana and all the little miseries that come with the hostel. And how many of them are failing or passing? And how many of these people are failing or passing? Is that clear? Good. Retrospective cohort is coming ahead. Okay. All right. Once again, case control versus, these are case control versus cohorts. Retrospective cohort means, जो ईशा ने पूछा है, that you take a result and you separate failures versus, good graders. And then you look back and see how many of failures are hostelites and how many of the passing students are hostelites versus day scholars. So the result has already happened. What you are looking for has already happened. And you are going back in time and seeing whether these people were exposed to the risk that you think made them fail. Is that clear? All right. And now we have decided that we are not doing a cohort, we're doing a cross-sectional study, right? Because the question that Isha asked is there, something, is there any difference? Or what is the difference? Is there any difference in exam performance of hostelites and day scholars in medical school? So our answer is going to be a yes or no. Our answer is not going to be why are they failing and why is somebody passing and how sad somebody is. No, our answer is going to be a simple yes or no. Yes, hostelites are performing worst off compared to day scholars, or hostelites are performing at par with day scholars, or hostelites are performing better than day scholars. We don't know what we'll find. Can you compare cohort and case control? All comparative studies fall under case control. Almost all comparative studies do fall under case control. Okay, let me just go to that figure that I skipped because I thought that you guys can look at it in your spare time. But I'll explain this figure for you just a minute. Uh, let me just yeah. All right. And once again, these are observational studies. One group is observational, you're observing a phenomenon, and the other big group in research is interventional. You're actually doing something to one of the groups, like we say randomized controlled trials. So you're giving that group um, maybe a treatment, maybe you're exposing them to something, or maybe you're not exposing them to something, and then you're following them in time and looking at the outcome. Those are interventional studies. You're actually doing something to the group. Um, like Elon Musk is placing some chips in people's minds. That is like the ultimate example of interventional research. It's pretty unethical, by the way. So, in case control study, you have a person or a disease. This person. This is a case control study. A disease has occurred. You cannot use okay, and this is going to give you the limitations, but this we will cover in the next session. I'm not going to go because see how it says RR, don't focus on this. This will become clear with time. A disease has occurred already and you want to know whether the exposure happened or not. So you decide that smoking causes lung cancer. So you take patients with lung cancer and without lung cancer, and you ask them, Sir, did you ever smoke? How long were you smoking for? What were you smoking? And based on the numbers that you get from this research, now there are many biases. I'm not going into those because I'm going to confuse you. I'm just trying to help you come up with a research question that will give you the title and the objectives and the methodology. So here is something that is going to come further in your internship and you will understand all these terms. But simply case control is the case has already happened. The disease has already happened. And you're asking them to recall whether they were exposed to a certain risk or not. Or you're looking at medical records and looking for exposure to the risk. I hope I'm making sense. And then, see, if you have a prospective cohort, meaning you are moving forward in time. So, here's a person, this is the time zero, this is prospective. This person was exposed, or this person is a smoker, and this person is a non smoker. And you enrolled them in your study and you followed them forward in time. And you followed them maybe for 10 years till you found out how many of them developed lung cancer. That is a prospective cohort. And this is the most precious research design. This is the most reliable. And this is the research design that has the minimal amount of bias or minimal amount of risk of wrong results in it. And a retrospective cohort is that retrospective is going back in time. It is like case control. But you know for sure that exposure has occurred. There, remember, you were asking this person if the exposure has ever happened. Here, you know that the exposure has occurred. All you don't know is whether the disease developed or not. Okay. So going back to the research question, what is your time frame when you look at this research question? And keep it simple. Don't make it difficult for yourself. Keep, keep it as simple as possible. Any other example than lung cancer? I know lung cancer is such a common example. Everybody uses it. Let me just try and give you another example. I know I agree with you. Lung cancer is used too much and it becomes complicated. Let me just go back here. So, okay, looking at our research question, supposing I want to do a prospective cohort on my research question. Hostelite, day scholar, good exam, bad exam. So what I do is I enroll hostelites and day scholars in my study today. And I follow them over time and I follow their academic performance throughout the 5 years. And then I calculate how each one of them did. That is the prospective cohort for my research question that I just asked here, or that you just asked here. The retrospective cohort for that is that I know for sure that this person is a hostelite and this person is a day scholar, and I know who failed and who passed, and I enroll failed and passed students in my study. And then I ask them, were you ever a hostelite? Were you ever a day scholar? And I calculate based on that. I calculate the difference based on that. While a case control is something that we are doing. We have hostelites, we have day scholars, and we have the outcome of interest. Outcome of interest is failing in the exam or a bad grade in the exam. And that is a cross-sectional study. We're just looking at one exam. All right? Is that clear? Because the assignment okay, thank you. Thank you, Iman. Thank you very much. The assignment that you have for this Friday, you're going to be emailing me your assignment. I'm going to email this whole chart to you, the whole Word document that we wrote. I'm going to take out things so that the images become clear. And you're going to fill this document, or you're going to go step by step according to this grid. And at the end of it, you're going to give me a title of research, your SMART objectives, coming from your research question, and the methodology that you want to follow to answer that research question. All right. Any questions? We have a good 3 to 5 minutes. I can answer questions because I'm all done here. This grid I'm going to upload. I'm going to send in your group, but please email me your assignments. All right.